Well, the number of new daily coronavirus infections in Tokyo has gone above 5,000 for the first time ever. Cases in the Olympics host city are rising faster than ever, fueled by the more contagious Delta variant. More widely, Japan's government has extended emergency measures to 8 more regions. Here's the data from Johns Hopkins University. This is the last 30 days in Tokyo alone. So 30 days ago, we were looking at approximately 500 new cases a day. When the Games started, around 900, bringing us now 2 weeks later to the point where there are 5,000 plus cases a day. And then more widely, this is Japan, not just Tokyo, the whole country since the start of the year. And just as a point of reference, the Olympic Games began at this point. And I think the graph kind of tells the story past that. Andy Richardson, our correspondent in Tokyo. It was not long ago, Andy, that Olympics organisers were saying that their games had nothing to do with the rise in cases across Japan. It would be hard to argue that now.
They are going to try and argue it, though, I can assure you, Kamal. I mean, you were putting those figures into some sort of context. I was standing here last week saying figures in Tokyo have hit 3,000 for the first time. That was a new record then. And the fact we've hit 5,000 today shows just how quickly this situation is escalating. The state of emergency just a few days ago was extended here in Tokyo until at least the end of the month from a sporting perspective, if that really matters. And that was going to have an impact on the Paralympic Games. Because there had been hopes that spectators and fans could be allowed in for the start of the Paralympics. There's still a chance that that could be the situation for the last few days of that event, but it all looks increasingly unlikely now. And I think there is a growing sense of frustration amongst many people here we've spoken to. The vaccination rollout was slow. The backstory there is that in the 1990s, the Japanese government was hit with a number of liable cases and was found liable for side effects from other inoculations. So it was a very cautious rollout of the vaccine, and that's now having an impact with this new Delta variant surging all over the country. It's not just an issue in Tokyo, it is all over the country. And I think the state of emergency itself is a bit of an oxymoron because it's not a law or an order. It is a request for people to perhaps stay at home, work from home if they can. It's a request for restaurants to close early. And perhaps not surprisingly, people are maybe not adhering to those requests when that same government is also carrying on with the Olympics.
Andy, can you give us any indication of what things are like actually in the Olympic Village, which is really supposed to be the heart of the bubble, which is supposed to keep this virus contained?
That's right. I mean, every day you will hear the high number of screening tests they've done, the low number of positive cases, and they will repeat that there is no link, no provable link between the athletes' village and what is happening there and the wider surges in Tokyo and around the rest of the country. There were 31 new cases today. What's interesting about the breakdown of that number is that 23 were residents of Tokyo, residents of Japan, either working as contractors or volunteers. They're not staying in the athletes' village. So this idea that there's no chance of there being a link between a positive case in the village and in the wider community is increasingly difficult to maintain. They say that it's a big TV event, the Olympics, and it's actually encouraging people to follow the state of emergency because of the high TV ratings, and it's encouraging people to stay at home rather than go out because obviously no fans are allowed at the venues. But there is a frustration. There's a frustration amongst epidemiologists, not just amongst the public, that at a time when the Delta variant is surging, that the fact the Games are going on is sending out the wrong message. It's sending out a message of optimism, that you can relax, and people aren't aware, because of the fact the Olympics are going on, just how serious the situation is becoming in Tokyo and in the wider country as well.
Andy Richardson with that update from the Olympic Games host city, Tokyo. Thank you. We'll stay in Asia.